Where does it show up at? And I'm sorry, there's chess club in here if you can hear them, but um where does it pop up after we in the meeting?
That's a good question. So, some people have it where it will notify you via email. It does it for me when I am recording a Zoom meeting. However, when you're in that single sign-on where you see all your UHCL apps where you can get into Canvas, email, and things, there is something called Echo. And if you tap Echo, then it has your saved videos in there. And
Oh,
so the reason why we do it this way is just so for our post conferences, you'll have them all in one set place. At the end of this semester, I will request just like a Microsoft Word document. It'll say observation 1, observation 2, observation 3, and then for observation 1, you'll put your actual video observation link, and then you'll put our post-conference link as well. And so we'll just have it in one nice place so that I can submit it to UHCL just in case TA audits anyone. Then they have, the proof that we had these conversations, as well as the nice perk about us doing your observations via video is we have a video of that too, whereas that's not always the case, in some practicum programs.
okay.
So I will start with introductions, and then we will start with, then I will talk to you about feedback on observation 1. We'll end up stopping the Zoom, starting a new Zoom, and doing observation 2 right after.
Sounds
So
good.
I'm Dr. Amy Dickey. Here we are for your post-conference on observation number 1. If you please introduce yourself.
But my name is Erin Lewis, and we are here for Observation One Post Conference.
Yes, we are. Very good. Okay, so I have submitted your feedback in Canvas. If you want to follow along with me, you are welcome to do so. I put it in two slots, both where you had typed your reflection as well as where you gave me the Zoom video link. So it's in both those places, so it's easier for you to find.
Mhm.
Let me just pull it up on my end. I like to pull it up directly from Canvas. That way I make sure I am looking at the copy that you have, make sure I didn't miss anything. Let's see, here I am. There's your name. Got it, got it. Feedback. Okay. All right. So before I even begin with my actual feedback, observation 1, you had a first grade class in the library, is that correct?
I believe so. I think I accidentally switched it when I was submitting it. I saw it in your notes.
Yes.
So observation one, um, it should have been a first grade classroom, I believe.
It was the little kids out of the two
Yeah.
videos. Okay.
Okay,
So
great.
how do you feel like that lesson and observation went, just based on you thinking about it and self-reflecting?
I feel like that one was rough. And it's not, for one, I didn't warn the kids that I was going to do the video. But then it was also like I remember having a lot of disruptions, and I was like, man, it's going to look like I don't have any classroom management. And then I was like, nah, it's raw, it's real, it's what
Your
happens in the
life.
school. So I felt like that was one of the most challenging things, where the constant interruptions is what I remember happening in that observation. But I being able to see the kids going through and reading the book and be engaged with it is a part that I'm proud of. And then having the structure of them going through and having one group of kids doing a set activity while the others are looking for their book is another that I felt pretty good about as well.
Okay. I like that you were able to see things that you may want to improve on, which this was a few weeks ago even. So I'm sure even now as they're, in the routines of visiting the library, things have even started to change for them as well. But then
For
I
sure.
also like that you are able to focus on some things that went well. So you'll just keep doing some of those things
Yeah.
as well. So before I even pull up the feedback, at first when I saw your pre-conference form, then I saw the video. I thought, well, maybe there wasn't a lot of pre-planning. I felt like it kind of went choppy in some places. But then I read your reflection, and you had reasoning for each item, as far as like the two brain breaks, as far as your, behavior management. And you did have a lot of good things in place for behavior management, that were respectful ways to redirect them. And so I really like that. Like you weren't necessarily getting on to anyone. You were kind of reminding them all, like sit on your pockets and do this and so
Mhm.
forth. And so after I read your reflection, I was like, this was like one of their first weeks in library. And so all in all, I was like, no, I think it went well. And then once I realized you accidentally did the like you switched it, I was like, she did have pre-planning. But your reflection also told me your reasoning for the brain breaks. And it is a large library chunk. Like, I'm kind of jealous. We have shorter ones, and a lot of people have shorter visits, 30 minutes or 25 or something like that. So you definitely had to, keep them entertained and engaged. So, I do agree with what you said, and I like that you know that there are areas for growth. Something that I did want to suggest, if you are planning on reading a book this day, but also connecting it to a previous book, is I would activate their background knowledge up front. Kind of like, hey guys, last time we were here, we read Llama Llama Reads. Today,
Mhm.
we're going to read a book that is like the very basics of reading. It has letters in it, and that's how you guys are learning to read right now, beginning of first grade. You're concentrating on all your letters, your sounds, then you're going to put them together to make words, just like Llama Llama did, and then
Mhm.
you're going to build your love for read. So I would do it up front instead of, hey, do you also
Backwards.
remember? Yeah,
Mhm.
because that made it feel a little bit choppy, but then I got your point,
Yeah.
because then you brought it all together. You're like, I really want you guys to love reading too, and here's
Mhm.
this activity, here's what we're going to do with the activity, and some of you are going to pick out books, and you get to
Mhm.
read them at home. So I saw the bigger picture of it after I read your reflection, saw the videos and everything. I feel like activating the background, it might have gone smoother if you did it up front. Um,
Okay.
so now, really, I'm going to look at the form and follow along with you. Okay, let me find it on I have two screens here and it has disappeared when I click that. There we go. I got it. Observation 1. Okay, so I don't like to go over every single little check mark. I just like to point out some areas where I think you might have a question about why I rated you a certain area, and I also like to talk about the comments. So I will tell you the standard that I'm on, and then I'll read you the comments, and then I will pull out a couple of things to discuss as far as the check marks.
Okay.
Now, on our observation 1, anytime you see progressing or not observed, do not worry at all. It just means I'd like to see in observation 2 or 3 what more you do in that area before I fully rate you. There was nowhere where I felt like putting does not meet expectations, and
Okay.
I don't anticipate that. So don't be alarmed though if everything doesn't say meets or exceeds yet. It was just observation 1 that I'm rating here. So for standard 1, learner-centered teaching and learning, my comments are that it's evident in your observation and reflection that you have flexible scheduling rotations for classes. You did adjust your questioning and your check-ins and your lesson to clarify and understand your students' needs. I liked that you were checking in with the ones that forgot their books. It wasn't just like a go do this, you forgot your books, but you were like, okay, let's check your name. Here's the book you got missing, and you were asking them kind of questions so that it's not just you forgot it and then they move on, but you're kind of holding them accountable. So, let's see, where was I? You do integrate curriculum standards such as identifying letters and words and with your read aloud. You did have students synthesize information by bringing back in that previous text, connecting it to the current book and activity. Your comment with up here toward the end of the video shows that you are encouraging students to check out fiction and nonfiction. So I couldn't see in that part of the video like who it was you were talking to, but you were like, hey, someone even went to the nonfiction section. So just that little snippet being in the video kind of let me know where your mind is and what your students are doing a little bit. Anything in, I already said this, anything in the progressing rating, I would like to see it included in future observations, just to be like a little bit more upfront as a focus. And then anything did not observe, I would love to see it in a future observation as well, but there's a couple that I probably won't see. I probably won't see interlibrary loan. There's one where it says you contact the news or media. I probably won't see that. And then there's a couple that I'm going to see through your projects. And so I'll explain that as I scroll through this form as well.
Okay.
All right, so on to standard 2, learner-centered library program leadership and management. So straight down to my comments, and you will see also that I have circled some keywords in the descriptions because some of them, that's specifically what I did see as far as when I was observing. And so you don't always have to cover everything in the wording to get rated on it. So that's just clarifying why I circled certain things. All right, for my comments, your time management of the 55-minute block was well used in regards to the lesson, the read aloud check-ins and outs, the brain breaks involving movement. I would love to brainstorm with you to get some sort of stations going in your library. Now, you did submit a library tour early on, but it's an MP4 and I need it to be like a YouTube link for me to see it. Does
Oh,
that
I'm
You don't have
sorry.
to, no, it's okay. You don't have to do it right now, but
Oh,
as I get the library tour, which I've caught glimpses in both your observations, I think I'll have a better understanding like what all, could go
I
on in
did
your
talk about
library.
the stations there. Yeah.
Yeah. So I might even see if I'm mentioning it here, you're like, oh, I already do that. Then that's wonderful. I would like to, watch that and see it as well. Let's see. So you seem like you already have an idea there, but simple ideas that can be started with community donations. Because some people are like, well, I don't know how to get this started because we don't have funding for this. Like we have funding for this amount of books or whatever. Anyway, sometimes community members such as families or grandparents or people with bigger kids, they'll donate like
Right.
Lego tables, Legos. You could also just have a drawing station, coloring table. I noticed you had, I think, computer devices in your library. You could have like a set, something that kids could do on there, but that's up to you. Dramatic play, kids big and small like dramatic play. It does take a bit more time and resources, especially changing it out regularly. So you wouldn't have to start with something like that, but they are a big hit with a variety of grades. Um, so tell me, just real quick while I have you, since I haven't seen the tour just yet, do you have some stations? I know you have tables because they were doing some independent work at tables.
Mhm. I actually asked for those tables. And then we have some more flexible tables that I have set out for stations. The previous librarian relied on stations, but when I came to clean and organize everything, it's just stuff. So I have to make the time to make sense of them. And like in the tour, you'll see where I show you the buckets, but they're all empty.
Okay.
Because nothing's ever is really separated except like some of the blocks and some of the stuff I brought from my classroom too. So I have like blocks. We have a small Lego table. So it and I appreciate the ideas because I am kind of not stuck, but kind of like, oh, what should I do for stations? I actually went to a PD in Clear Lake, and it was one of the sessions I caught was about implementing stations in the library. And I think I'm overcomplicating it in my head, trying to put out too much versus just a few things at a time and being able to rotate them out as I go.
Yeah, it can be overwhelming to get it started, and it can also be overwhelming when you feel like you want to change them.
Yeah.
So yes, do you want to talk about it now or you want to talk about like, I'm like,
We can talk about it now if you like. Yeah.
yeah, I think so. So really what I would start with, you say you have Legos or a Lego table. I would start with that as one of the main ones that's always out. You don't ever have to change that. You
Yeah.
could decide to give that a timeout if they're not utilizing it properly or if they get tired of it, but mine never get tired of the Lego table. There are some kids that always do it. And every now and then you could either buy a Lego book that has how
Mhm.
to build things, or you could print a free page from the internet every now and then. Like, here's what we're building this week if you want to join.
Mhm.
So I would just model for them the expectation, like you don't put the pieces in your pockets or your mouth. You
Right.
don't throw the pieces. Don't leave them on the floor because nobody likes to step on a Lego.
Mhm.
And then just check the station every time it's time to clean up. You can have a kid be the station cleaner, or you can go check them. Just hold them accountable. Another one that would be super easy just to keep out is just a drawing station. I was doing coloring pages, and then I went to half page coloring pages because we were having a paper shortage at certain times of year,
Mhm.
and they were like, you
Mhm.
have to quit printing so much. But then kids keep flipping it to the back and just drawing. And so now I have a table that has pencils and paper, and they can take it to the table with colors if they want to color it. So then I
Yeah.
do have a coloring table. And I try to switch it out with our theme, whether it's Hispanic Heritage Month, whether it's fall. I try to always have something that's non-holiday in case a kiddo that doesn't celebrate is like also coloring. So maybe just a pumpkin, but not a jack-o'-lantern. And I vary what I have to color there. Crayons, yes, because the teachers sometimes get extras, donate to me. And
Yeah.
then now and then I might put a box of markers, but I try to keep it special. And then I have glitter pins in the back, but that's like really special. I have that like near Christmas to make some cards with or something. But so there already you have three things: drawing, coloring, and Legos. So that would be just a start. But you could still have your activity, like you had the activity ready for them to do where they had to cut the words and stuff. So it's like when
Right.
you're done with your activity, then you can choose. You can go read, you can draw, you can color, or you could do Legos. And I would just start with something that simple.
Could I ask what grade levels do you do the stations? Is it everybody? Is it just pre-K to second? Like how do you usually do
That's an
that?
That's an excellent question. So, whenever I started out, my campus is K through 5, and I had kinder first and second was allowed to do all these station rotations, and then 3 through 5, I had like higher up things. Like I had a box of Legos with the Lego book on the table. I had
Hmm.
the drawing paper, but I had drawing books on the table. Like I was like, oh, they're older. They know how to do this stuff. But they would be
Hmm.
eyeballing my restaurant station, and they're like, can we do that, miss? And so I
Yeah.
was like, what in the world am I doing? Of course you can. Like they're
Hmm.
big, but they're just
Yeah.
little kids. So now all of them, I do sometimes limit kinder beginning of year at certain things. Like I'm like, okay, kindergarten, you're on this side of the library. First of all, because I want to know where they are so I can watch them. I don't want them spread as far. But next of
Okay.
all, sometimes I have stations with little pieces that I want to make sure A, they're not putting in their mouth, but B, also they're not taking home or they're
Yeah.
not breaking. So sometimes I very slowly introduce extras to kinder
Hmm.
or to special ed sometimes as well with the little pieces
Yeah,
and stuff. So,
for sure.
but
Would
the
it
big
be,
kids,
I'm
yeah,
sorry.
that's okay. The big kids like everything the little kids like. So now I don't even, I'm like, yep, go.
Keep it all together.
Mm-hmm.
Would it be more, I guess, appropriate if you do stations every time they come, or is it just like certain days, or how do you usually work that? Is it every time they come to the library?
It is the way my classes work. They're a 30-minute block. They come in, they turn in their books similarly to how you did it on the cart. Mine put it on the counter. And then while mine are heading to the reading area, I'm scanning them in. I did teach teachers how. I say, teachers, can you either get them seated or scan in books? But it seemed like your teachers, they drop them at the door. Yeah. Okay. So you would scan their books while they go get seated and do your lesson. So then I do my lesson, I read aloud, or if I'm teaching them Dewey Decimal or whatever the lesson is. And then after that, they do checkouts while I'm scanning them. They're finding their books, I'm scanning them, and then they can go to stations. If they didn't bring back their book, usually I give them a couple times, and then like I had a kid today that he hasn't brought his books back since the beginning of September. So I was like, all right, friend, you're gonna have a sit out today.
Hmm.
And for a sit out, they can read from a bucket of like gently used books, but they can't just go straight to stations because that's kind of why some forget their books because they just want to do stations. But they do stations each time. Now, every now and then the teacher's running late or the teacher's
Hmm.
in a hurry and they take them early. And so stations is the first thing to go.
Okay. Okay. Thank you for that. I appreciate
Yeah.
it.
I hope it helps. And I hope it helps you feel confident, like, okay, I could get this started. And don't
Yeah.
feel like you have to add in or change anything, crazy. Just if you see an
Mhm.
idea and you're like, okay, I feel like I could implement this next month or
Mm.
whenever, then try it and see.
No, I think we can do, well, right now we're starting book fair soon.
Mm,
But I think for sure after that, we can we can try.
okay,
Yeah, we can try.
cool. All right, so now back to the feedback form. I'm on standard 3, learner-centered technology and information access. So for this particular lesson, technology was not the focus, and that is totally okay. It's not always the focus. So I put that in my comments. Technology was not the focus of your observation today, and that's okay. Please plan to integrate into observation 2, which you did, or 3 in some way. As for your collection of library resources, I did get glimpses of your library from the observation video link, the number 1, but I didn't view the tour because it was submitted as MP4. It's going to be a link, so you're going to redo that when you have a moment. And then specifically pertaining to your collection, I did see what seemed to be organized shelves of books. There were some empty spaces, mostly down low. Some of the shelves, like it looked like that part of your collection, you just don't have a lot in just certain places. And then stacks of books on top, which I feel like you were mentioning to whoever you were talking to, but I couldn't quite hear the reasoning. I didn't know if it was returned books or they needed to be shelved or so I didn't hear exactly what the stacks of books were in that first video that I saw glimpses of. Um, do you remember what were they were book returns that needed to be shelved or?
Oh no, it was a mess. The books, and you'll hear me talk about it in the tour. The library, there were books all over the place. So in order to make sure it was functional for them to check out, I started organizing the shelves. So I pulled them out and set them on top, and was putting them in order. They were not, and so anytime someone would ask me for a book or we're looking for a specific book, I have no clue where it is because they were everywhere. They're gone now, so they're fixed. But yeah, they were all over the place. So I took that time. That's why on that log you would see me say,
Yes,
organize
for
it.
2 hours.
That's what I was doing.
Got
Oh
it.
yeah, it took a long time, and I'm still not. It's like a section of fiction books that I still haven't finished, but it's not as big of a section as that nonfiction was a beast. And then the everyone books, that was a lot. So
Yeah.
and then that was my graphic novels I got done, and my humor section I got done because those are the ones that they love to go to. So
Yeah.
it's just a few that I have to finish up, but they're manageable.
Okay, okay. See, I'm so glad that I have kept these like post conferences still Zoom because I'm able to get so much explanation and more
Mhm.
understanding and okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for
Yes.
explaining. All right, so for standard 4 learner-centered library environment, your library has space for classes. I saw that. I feel like small group and individuals, which I saw more in observation too, but I'll save that for observation too.
Mhm.
You have a nice lesson area with a carpet for sitting, a spot for your teaching. You have a circulation desk for check-ins, check-outs. I viewed computer desks in the background. They weren't being used during this lesson, which is fine. Your environment is safe and secure for your students of varying ages. The video glitched and froze, and first I thought it was my device, but I could still hear you talking, but you were like still on the carpet, but I could tell you were going on to do the checkouts to talk with the other person. And I don't know if it was YouTube or what it was.
I'm
Observation.
sorry.
No, it's fine because I could still hear the audio, so I could still. I feel like I could still finish assessing everything, but I couldn't always see what else was around the library as the students were moving on. But I do assume there was a table area that was used for the activity they were doing. And then let's see. We talked about the shelf space already. You already clarified the empty spots or the stacks of books. Let's see, let's see. Oh, so just a suggestion that I have as you get them all organized, if you still see there's an opening like the shelf isn't totally full. If you just stand a book up to kind of face it out, that's a popular
Mhm.
one, then they're going to grab that one quickly. You can also use book stands, but I found that standing it up works just as fine. You can also put on top, but some people don't like to do that. They like to keep the tops of the shelves clutter free. I myself love putting book displays up there,
Mhm.
but it depends on the library that I go to. I also see the ones that are perfectly, tops of shelves are empty. And I'm like, ooh, I kind of love this too. It looks
Yeah.
like nice, clean, organized.
Mhm.
So that just depends on the kind of library that you feel most comfortable in, and it's your space. So, but I will say something for having the cover facing kids now and then, especially for your littles or for your indecisive ones. Sometimes it's easier for them to just grab.
Yeah.
Standard number 5, learner-centered connections to the community. So that wasn't a super big focus of this lesson, which is okay. You engage your diverse group of learners with the movement activities as well as the story. They liked both. You redirect behavior and interruptions as needed. You reinforce desired behaviors by scanning student badges. I like that system. That was neat. I saw it in both grades. You say things such as class, pockets, and you're reminding students to attend to you, sit down. I am wondering if something that I've tried out would work for you. It's called a whole body reset. And so it would incorporate all the things that you're saying, like with class, you're trying to get their attention back on you, right? With
Mhm.
pockets, you're trying to get them sitting in their spot the appropriate way. You definitely don't want them blurting out. You had to address that a couple of times. And so if you have a code word, the one I use is shine, and you teach
Mhm.
them their first few visits what the code word means. So when I say shine, it means you need to get crisscross, get those hands in your lap, put your eyes on me, and close your mouth. Um,
Mhm.
and then I can do it when they're in line and they'll stand up straight. If I visit their classroom for something, I can do it in their classroom, and I've had subs
Yeah.
do it as well because I teach it to all the kids in the school, and sometimes subs don't know the class or the waterfall
Mhm.
or the cute things that we have in place, but I have seen them say shine to their students in the classroom, and it's just for some reason, like even the kiddos that have a lot of trouble redirecting or listening or whatever, they know that word shine and they reset their body. Now sometimes it lasts 5 seconds, but it's
But they
just
don't.
I feel like it's a less interrupting for
Yeah.
you to just one quick code word. And you could choose anything. But like sparkle, shine, I don't know, anything.
Yeah.
I feel like it might put all those things that you smartly say to them into one redirection.
Yeah.
But don't feel like you have to do it. It was only a suggestion. That's why I'm here just to see how I can help.
Yeah. Make it quick and easy.
Yes, exactly. And then no matter where you are in the library, you say it. Now, when they're all out checking out books, that would be kind of weird to say shine because they like freeze. But when they're at the carpet or when they're at the station area or when they're in line or whatever, I feel like it could be the same word for all places and they would know your expectation. Alrighty, standard 6, learner-centered information science and librarianship. Again, this one has a lot of technology tucked in, and like I say, that wasn't your focus. So some of these areas were not observed. Either they weren't even a part of this lesson, which is fine, or there was a glitch in the video at certain parts. The sound went out a couple times, but I think that was a YouTube because whenever I played it on a different device or I reset the internet, the sound was working even through the end when the video stayed stuck. So
Okay.
and then in your second one, it worked fine. So I don't know what was happening. But you were ethical during the whole observation. Your submitted reflection really helped me understand different things. It clarified that you did collaborate with others to understand what the students were studying at the time, the letters and the words, what first graders were, learning in their classrooms and based on the TEKS as well. So the next part is your professional aspects. Almost everything in here I put meets expectations. The couple that I put progressing is just because I like to wait until observation 2 or 3 before I fully rate certain areas. So for my comments here, I put that you were respectful and ethical while you independently worked with students and managed their behavior and tasks. I did mark progressing in a few areas because your pre-conference plan and answers were somewhat incomplete. I would like to see more information on the observation 3-1 and
Mhm.
then to copy paste and switch your pre-conference, that part on the form that you had filled out, since observation 1 wasn't with third graders, it was actually with the first graders. Does that
You
make
said you want
sense?
me to swap them?
Yeah, that way the form is complete from top to bottom. Like your
Okay,
pre-conference talks about first graders and the video was about first graders and my feedback was all about first graders.
gotcha.
Some of my comments aren't going to make as much sense because where I'm like, you said you were teaching first graders, but it was third grade or whatever. But I will know, like you swap the information
Yeah.
back the way it goes.
And then I messed up again when I was submitting my reflection. I think I submitted my pre-conf I submitted something like 5 times, so I do apologize about that. I'm sure you saw it. I think I submitted like a pre-conference form, and I was like, "Wait, that's not right." Then I submitted something else, I was like, "Still not the right form," and then I finally got it uploaded finally.
So it could have been maybe that I uploaded a first version of something. I did see the link posted a couple of times and I did make sure to click through, but it was the same video each time. So it was like, okay, we're good here.
Okay,
But if you feel like, yeah, if you feel like you already had the information completed on one of the forms, if you can copy and paste onto this one that I've signed,
oh,
then, it'll be fully up to date on all ends.
okay,
So analyze and synthesize data, one that I put did not observe, that will be from your weeding project, which your weeding project is due. It's overdue by a week, so you'll want to get that turned in as
I'm
soon. You're like, hey, people,
sorry. Yeah, my
it's okay.
principal.
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
So your weeding project is where I will see that you've analyzed and synthesized data a bit for this class, and that was due about a week ago. So you're going to want to get that turned in as soon as possible.
okay,
And then the ability to reflect on teaching, I'm getting that from you right now. So on future forms, I'll be able to rate that higher.
okay,
And then prepared for the practicum opportunity, your observations, like you videoed it, you turned it in, you're ready. It was just the forms, how they got mixed up. But when I first read this one, I just thought the pre-plan was for something else. Then when I saw observation 2, I realized they had been switched up, but I hadn't realized it when I rated on this one yet. So just letting you know that.
and I apologize. That's like, I feel like my brain has been so out of it, so I apologize. I've
That's
been
okay.
trying to like, we were out last week, and I've been trying to make sure I'm staying on top of everything, and you know, 2 steps forward, 5 steps back, but I promise I'm not like, this isn't my normal pace of work. So I do apologize. That was my fault, flipping and missing things.
Once I opened number 2, it all made sense. So don't
Okay.
even I was like, "Oh, here's what happened. Got it. Okay." And it happens to me too. So don't even worry. Everything is fixable. So at the end, I talk about strengths and needs. Sometimes a need isn't something that you actually need, but something I would like to see in a future observation. So for strengths, you use a variety of behavior management strategies with your young visitors. You fill your time block with engaging tasks for the students. You help students recall information from previously read book, and you make text-to-text connections between your books. And then for the needs, if you'll add more detail to pre-conference 2 and 3 form, please. And then, for example, you could explain what task you'll cover for each of the standards, or you could just give me more detail about what your lesson will include. Your reflection was really great, really detailed. So any information from that you can add to the pre-form is very helpful. Anything that you like expect me to see, or that you want to tell me about what you're planning for your lesson.
I do have I make lesson plans. Like, do you want me to include that
Like
on
a
it?
summary of that. Like, you
Yeah.
don't have to
Okay.
include the lesson plan, but if you can put it into a paragraph summary, like that will
Okay.
be like plenty more details for me. I would
Okay.
appreciate it.
Okay.
And then in observation 2 or 3, which I already know you did in 2, include some technology. And then I say consider using a different device. The sound went out, the video froze, but like I say, the sound was coming in and out, and on video 2 it wasn't a problem, and then the video froze, but the sound worked, and it wasn't a problem on number 2. So I think that was resolved. And like I said, I don't know if it was YouTube or what. So I'm not really concerned about that now that I've seen number 2. You will notice at the bottom, I have already signed field supervisor, and then I crossed out the bottom set of signatures because that's not actually needed until observation 3. So what you will do is you'll read through this, you'll go ahead and copy paste, switch the info at the top of it. So it talks about the first graders on this one. You'll sign for candidate signature, and then you can simply email it to your site supervisor, whoever is your overseeing librarian, lead librarian, or whatever. And you can say, hey, we had our post conference. Things went well. We talked about things that I will do for my future observations. Would you mind to sign it and send it back to me? And since I've already signed it, you'll sign it next. I don't mind how she sends it back to you. If it's PDF, if it's Word, whatever she's easiest to sign it using.
Okay.
Okay, so that is all for observation number 1. Do you have questions for me?
No.
Okay,
Just one last. Well, I said no, and then I asked a question.
that's okay.
Where did I submit the library tour? Was it under observation 1 pre-conference?
Yes.
Do I resubmit it there?
I would love for it to be in either where you did the video submission it was like the second assignment, or you can do it. It was like where your reflection is. You submitted your video and your reflection. You could submit it there in the comments, or you can submit it on where we have this form, so that it's the last thing that I see.
Okay, so I'm going to go to uh observation 2, right? Post-conference,
Yes.
or do you prefer 1?
Either one. It can
Either.
actually go on 3 even, like,
Okay.
because I'm gonna watch it, and probably put more feedback on number 3 from it since we're already
Oh,
doing 1 and 2.
well, do you want me to do it now, or do you want me to do it when? Because I wasn't planning on 3 until November 7th, I think is the day I picked.
Then
Um,
you can submit it for 1 or 2, but I'll go ahead and watch it so that I can add the feedback,
okay, sounds good.
or have it in mind for when I give the final feedback.
Okay.
All right. So now I actually think we don't have to stop the Zoom if you just stop the recording and we start it again.
Okay. Stop recording. Are you sure you want to stop recording to the cloud? If yes, you'll receive an notification.